Good afternoon, gang. Good afternoon. Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for educational purposes only. And now we've got that out of the way. We're going to take a quick look at a few altcoins that you guys have requested. If you guys do want an altcoin covering, let us know down in the comments below, or check out the link down below and click on our Twitter account. Every Monday we ask what coins you want chatting, so obviously if you want something covering, then let us know on there. Now, this week we've had DOT, BET, SOL and OP. So let's jump into these charts. So some of these guys have got old TA on them. Starting off with DOT, and as you can see here, the old TA still works. Okay, so we can remove this one now. This was from a long time ago. And as we can see, obviously we've come up, deviated range high, back into the range, back out of the range, and then we've retested the old top range lows. Been rejected off there a couple of times. Bear in mind, this is a weekly chart. And then we've come back down. And where have we come back down to? We've tested the EQ. This is right. Some people make TA really complex. Okay, or they'll draw some pretty patterns, some pretty head and shoulders and all that crap. Couple of parallel lines. That's all you needed. That's all you needed for the past few months. Anyway, right, what could happen next? Okay, so first and foremost, let's do a volume profile like this. I want to zoom down onto the daily structure. That's what I want to look at. There we go. Right, okay. So let's talk about all scenarios. If you are new to the channel, I don't speak in facts because, unlike the masses out there, I don't claim to know what's going to happen next because nobody knows. So let's talk about upside first. Okay, so it's pretty obvious where we are right now. We can see here value area high coming in roughly around 740, pretty much exactly where we are right now. If we can flip value area high into support, then we can start looking back up towards range highs. Now, this is range highs, regardless how you look at it. So we've had it as resistance. We'll run it here, push through, back tested, lost it, back tested, come back down. So we've got a confirmed range high here. So if we do come back up to range high, the question is what happens? Do we reject, maybe a little throw over, reject, and then start breaking some structure to the downside? If we do, then we've got a short opportunity looking to continue playing this range. Okay. If we get no reaction at range high and we start pushing out and we start getting above this pivot here specifically. Now, once again, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you this to you. There we go. So we can see here, looking on a daily time frame. Okay. Locally, we are in a downtrend on the daily. Okay. Higher time frames still pointing up, but locally we are in a downtrend. So this line here coming in at 912 is very important, because if we can start convincingly closing daily dildos above this level, then we start to change market structure. Now, does that mean that once that breaks and we get a daily close above this level, it just goes up in a straight line? No, it doesn't. It means that we've potentially got a trade opportunity on our hands, because if we do break this and then come back down into some sort of support and then start to move up, then we've potentially got a long opportunity. Okay. Now, where does that long opportunity go towards? Well, once again, it's the same idea. The old top range lows, okay? At top range lows, do we get acceptance back into the top range? Or, once again, do we reject and we start coming back down? They're the questions you've got to ask, okay? And we can't figure that out until we see it in real time. We start zooming down to a lower term time frame. Now, let's talk about if we start to roll over. Well, if we start to roll over, once again, we are in a local downtrend. Okay, we can't ignore this. So we still do have the possibility of coming down to take out these lows. If we do come back down to take out these lows, then I'll be looking, quite obviously, for the point of control. What happens at the point of control? Do we start to change some structure on a lower term time frame, something like a 1 hour or 4 hour, and start to point up? Well, in that case, we've got a long trigger. If we don't start showing any strength down at this level down here, then we can start looking lower. First and foremost, value area low. No reaction at value area low, coming in roughly around $5, then looking back down towards range low. And at range low, if you are bullish, then you'd be hoping that that holds, because if that does hold, then there's a long opportunity. And once again, all we're doing is just playing this larger range. Okay, eventually, one side will break Do we know which side's going to break? No, we don't. Okay, because we don't talk out of his asses on this channel. Okay, so that's dot. Really simple. Okay, you got a range high above. Clear that. Flip that in spot. The major pivot is roughly around 913. Start closing daily dildos above that, and we can start looking for some higher prices. Okay, to the downside, looking at taking out this. If we do take out this, then down towards the point of control first, or you could treat this whole area as a bit of a zone. Okay, point of control, value area low. Okay, so between $5.30 and $5. And if that doesn't hold, then looking down towards range lows. Really simple. Really simple. Okay, next, FET. Okay, right, so start from a higher time frame, look at the monthly. The monthly is still in an uptrend. Low, high, high, low, high, 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 low, high, high. Monthly still pointing up. Okay, don't forget that. Bigger picture, up. Weekly, still in an uptrend. Okay, still in an uptrend. Daily, in a downtrend. Okay, why is the daily in a downtrend? Well, because this is the high. I mean, you could argue that this is the high, but we could also use this pivot here. And for safety's sake, I am going to use this pivot here. This is the high that caused the low. Okay, so the daily is technically in a downtrend, although all other higher time frame are pointing up. Okay, but the daily is in a downtrend. Okay, so if you are bullish on this asset, then you need to be closing a daily dildo above this level convincingly. And by convincingly, I don't mean just a little nubbin above. Okay, I mean a strong close above. Okay, it needs to look convincing. All comes down to context of trading. So if you start closing the daily dildos above this, then we can start looking at some higher prices potentially. And if that is the case, then we can try capitalize on the daily trend. Okay, wait for the pullback. See where the major support is created. Again, right now we don't know where it's going to be, because this could just go sideways for ages, then pop up, then you've created your strong support. But until that happens, we don't know. Okay, but once again, daily's in a downtrend until we start closing dildos above this. If we start closing dildos above this, then we can start talking about new all-time highs. Don't close dildos above this, and we could potentially continue this downtrend. Okay, so let's talk about that next. If we do start heading down, so where's the support? Well, we need to find out where the volume is. So first and foremost, I'm going to zoom out like this, and we're going to use this local low here to get a good read on volume. Okay, now out of interest, let's also do the same here. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, so if we do come back down to take out these lows, and we don't get a simple swing failure pattern below these lows here, which these lows are coming in roughly around 162. If we don't get that and we start to roll over further, first and foremost, we do have a slight bit of volume here. It's not much, but we do have a slight bit of volume here, and this is coming in around 108. So if we come down into this zone and start to show a bit of strength, tentatively, there may be a long opportunity. If there's no strength shown in this, then I'll be looking to come back into this consolidation here. And you can clearly see at the top where the volume is and at the bottom where the volume is. Now, for the better opportunity for a long, you'd prefer it to come down lower. Let's be honest. Why would you want this to happen when you could get a better risk to reward it coming down lower? However, we don't know what's going to happen, so we trade what we're given. Okay, so roughly between 72 cents and 52 cents for easy numbers. Okay, so once again, if this does start to break down and comes into this, then once again, this is a daily time frame. Then you start zooming into the 4 hour, maybe the 1 hour chart. Do we start then changing some structure above here? Then we look to get in on a pullback to get our long trigger. Okay, if we don't get anything in this, then unfortunately the bears really are winning at that point, and I'll be looking to come back down towards 22, 23 cents, give or take, at that point. But there are sticky zones on the way down, so I'm not saying price is going to come down here. I'm just working out levels where I'm interested in doing business. Okay, right now where we are, I'm not really interested in longing this, especially because you will have a golden pocket right on that structure break level. Okay, so if we do start coming up and rejecting here, then there's a potential for a short opportunity. Okay, So major level above. And if we do start to break some structure, well, continue the downside momentum, then this zone first, then this zone, then this zone. Okay, I don't know, sitting right here, which one of these price will get to if it does head down. Okay, all I know are where the strong levels are. Okay, next, Sol. We've got some Alti on here. Okay, so Sol's had a pretty damn good rally on the back of this. Out of interest, how high did we come? Up towards the 786, fair enough. Okay, right, I'm going to throw it back on log because it's easier to view at this time being. Okay, so let's go next. Now, zooming in. Now, once again, Sol's another thing. Done exactly what everything else has done. We have broken daily structure to the downside. Okay, does it mean that's it? It's game over and we're going to zero? No, it doesn't. It just means that the daily's in a downtrend. However, the weekly is arguably still in an uptrend. And I would argue that your weekly stays in an uptrend as long as you're above that pivot, which funnily enough is around the EQ. Magic, that, isn't it? So the price could drop all the way down here and do this and still be in an uptrend on the weekly plus time frames. Okay? And this is what people can't seem to grasp. Okay? It might be bearish on a daily chart like it is right now, but the higher term time frame is still in an uptrend. Okay? So you can be short term bearish, high time frame bullish. Okay, it's the beauty of being a trader rather than the hodler and just hoping for up only. So, how does this daily structure turn back around into a bullish structure? Well, realistically, you need to start closing dildos above that level. If you start closing dildos above that level, then you can start potentially looking for longs. Okay, until you start doing that, then for me, there'd be no interest in this, because the structure level is so far away from current price action. I'd much rather see, in a situation like this, and my members will know this, I would much rather see something like this to become a buyer. Okay? Because if you create a new low, this then becomes your pivot. Get back above that pivot, back in some volume structure down here, then I'd prefer to become a buyer. Okay? Also gives you a better risk to reward. Okay, so upside, we've got this zone here, which coincidentally will also likely be a golden pocket. Oh, look at that, it's magic. Golden pocket. It's like the whole market is in sync. Now, if we do come down lower, what do we want to do? We want to see where the volume is. Okay, so volume profile from there to there. And we can see here. Now, this isn't great in terms of volume. Okay, this whole move is fairly thin. There are some volume clusters, but it's fairly thin. And it's something that you've got to take into consideration on pullbacks. Okay. Yeah, let's stay on the weekly structure here because we can see this a little bit clearer. Okay, so as I said, weekly still remains bullish as long as it's remaining above, on a closing basis, the EQ. So if price does come back down to the EQ and then starts to show some signs of strength, then there's a potential long trigger there. Where does that long trigger come up to? Well, if it does start to then flip the daily around, then we can start talking about new highs. But if it doesn't start to change the daily around, then it might be a short-term bounce for more pain. Okay, so the EQ would be my next spot. Now, if we start losing the EQ, realistically, I'll be looking back down at this value area high region here. And then once again, you've got your, your order block, supply and demand style traders. They'll be all looking at this. We can see here there's some volume, not major amounts of volume, but we do have a value area high. So if we do come down into this zone here and start to turn around, then fair play. If not, then realistically, I'm looking back down towards range lows. Okay, and all it is just one giant range. Beautiful. Very easy to trade a range. Very easy. Finally, OP. So this is something that we charted a few weeks back, I believe. Okay, so the two areas of interest that we had to the downside, this being the first one, and look where we got a bounce from. There you go. It's magic, is that, isn't it? Second one will be down here. Okay, there's nothing really that's changed on this. So once again, the only big difference with this is some of the other altcoins have only broken daily structure to the downside. Okay, The difference with OP is we've broken weekly structures to the downside. What do I mean by that? Well, there's your low that caused your high. Okay, weekly structure has broken to the downside and we've closed a weekly dildo below this. Now, does this mean it's game over and it's going to zero? No, it doesn't. Okay, because it can quite easily turn back around. Weekly turns back around above this line here, 403, 404. Okay, start closing weeklies back above there, then we can start looking at new all-time highs. Okay, but there's quite a big distance between where we are right now and there. Yeah, that's a 60% move. So if this holds, okay, just a good area of interest. We already had this marked out. Again, we had this order block, whatever you want to call it. Value area high, decent amount of volume around this zone. Okay, so if this does hold and we start making our way up, then again, I'm going to zoom into the daily chart here. Okay, and then I'm going to do a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom. Okay, and we can see here. Let's go back out to the weekly. There we go. You can see here. So if we do make it all the way back up to this golden pocket, this golden pocket likely does give us some form of reaction. Okay, because it's a high time frame is this. I'm looking on a weekly chart. So if we do come up here, it does likely give us something to work with, even if it is just a small short opportunity. Okay, alternatively, it could be a large short opportunity and we come up into this and then start to roll over back down to this one. Okay, either way, we don't know until it gets there. That's what we need to wait and see. Okay, so the upside is fairly straightforward. Okay, the upside is fairly straightforward. This whole move down was relatively thin. Come on, volume profile. Pull your finger out, come back. We've lost it. There we go. It's come back. This whole move down was fairly thin. Okay, so just as price moved down here very easily, it can also move back up very easily, back up into a local resistance level. Now, if it does start to roll over, then exactly the same as the last plan, I'd be looking down towards this point of control. This point of control is a very big zone, because if this point of control doesn't hold and start to give us something to work with to the upside, then realistically, after that, you're going to be looking at coming back down a lot lower. Looking roughly around 91 cents. Okay, why do I say that number? Well, you got a high volume node right there. Okay, and realistically, what you'd be looking at then is not just taking out these lows, but you'd be looking to come take out these lows. Okay, there's not much difference between this point of control and this high volume node here. Okay, both of these are very equal to each other. So if one doesn't hold, then you look down towards the other one, which that one is then coming in at, again, 91 cents, give or take. If that doesn't hold, then yeah, start getting a bit bearish, because then we're going to start looking back down in the 50s. Okay, so first and foremost, this. If that doesn't hold, then this. Simple as that. But it doesn't have to come down here, because there's a chance that the low is in. Okay, just have to wait and see. Time is the beauty. If we start zooming into the daily on this again, the daily flips back bullish above 341. Okay, so once again, it's got quite a long way to go to get bullish. So a similar situation to what we just talked about with the other coins. The other way to look at it would be, in an ideal scenario, would be this rolls over, comes back down, then starts to show some strength. Then you got the opportunity there. Okay, really simple. Really simple. Don't overcomplicate things when it comes to shitcoins. Right, hopefully you've learned something today. If you have, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And until next time, gang, as you were, bye-bye.